Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for patch 5 of update 119 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, while working through bug fixes and enhancements and things like that and a whole bunch of Westworld work, I decided to clear a number of firearms off the backlog that I have been meaning to get into here forever. This is a bunch that Ole has done and that a bunch of the modder folk who do like modular weapons, for those of you who know about such things, have been asking me to finally get into the game. So let's walk over here and take a look at them. I put in a while back a 416, but didn't put in any of the very many variants that actually exist for it. So congratulations, I hope you really enjoy AR-15 pattern guns. I've got a whole bunch more for you. As I said, they're going in as much both to have available as part of the armory, but also so that the modder folk who do the modular AR stuff can have access to all the components as well. So this one's a 416A5. I'm going to have to look at my wrist menu for each one of these because I certainly don't recognize these off the bat. This is one of the least goofy looking 416 stocks. I've got a fresh set of irons for them too, actually. We've got the classic diopter sights, which we pull up here. The default setting is nice and wide. Go like that. Ooh, that's missing a sound effect. 4 is super narrow. 3 and 2. Let's go ahead and spawn some target volunteers. Oh, have we actually charged this? No, we have not. Wow, Anton, are we even awake yet? There we go. Honestly, I'd probably just keep this on 1 most of the time, just for speed of acquisition. Wonderful. So yeah, so that's the A5. Let's take a look over here. We've got a really compact one that this is probably my favorite out of all of them. This is the 416C. It's got this ridiculous, super short stock on the back. Let's check out our other set of folding sights. These I'm not pairing these correctly whatsoever based on the type of rifle. If you actually go and look at these under the assault rifle category and pull them up, these should all have whatever the suggested correct sight is for that specific model will show up as an additional sight there, whether it's the folding ones or the diopters. So yeah, 416C, nice and super compact, especially with the stock folded up. Man, I just keep forgetting to actually ready these to fire. Oh yeah, I like this little. This is a little compact, angry little thing. Oh yeah, yup, that's great. I have a thing. I know you lose so much muzzle velocity with a shorter barrel, which is of course simulated in H3. So I'm sure this is becoming less effective against, say, like level 3 armor. Actually, let's test that. You would think so, but that's our level 2 vest. Come on, give me one with a level 3 that is convenient to shoot at. We're also fairly close here. There we go. Let's pop this to semi. Let's actually see if this still pens at this barrel length. Oh yeah, that is just enough to give a little bit of blunt pass-through damage, but yeah, that's yeah, whereas through the level 2, it's just popping through. Whereas if memory serves, if we grab something with a long barrel here, or full length, this is about as long as one of these is going to get. This is the 416N. This should, with a dead-on shot. Yep. So that is an example right there of how much barrel length impacts overall round velocity and round performance. So you are definitely losing.
Bright light. That's my cell phone.
Nice job hitting the watermelon, buddy. You're definitely losing some performance with the shorter barrel, but making up for it in cool points. So yeah, so that's a 416N. We've got for everyone who's obsessed with FDE stuff, we've got this sucker. This is the 416D. Interestingly enough, these are not M-LOK. This is just some super proprietary thing, which is why we went ahead and affixed all the little rail pieces to it instead of making just a custom type for this one gun and having to put 7 rails on this, which would be a little bit of a performance bomb. Did I actually remember to put the... Nope, that is... Well, I guess that technically should fit with that one. But yeah. Good stuff. Ooh, something's going wrong with that. I must have forgot to check an sRGB checkbox for that dust cover. Ole will absolutely yell at me for that later. It's a 416 CQB with just like the ugly bulbous stock. I can't stand that stock. This is the M27 IAR, which if you're like, what distinguishes this? Truthfully, I can't tell at this point. And because I love throwing in semi-auto carbine versions of things to ruin your take and hold runs, this is the MS223 A1 semi-auto. Still puts holes in things.
I'm out of gas.
Not going to be very good for fighting the more difficult encryptions later on in the game. So there you have it. There is significantly more 416s than any of you ever asked for. But if there's one game to just get into the weeds with this kind of variant selection, it's H3. Beyond that, I have a whole bunch of bug fixes. I figured instead of just reading them to you, I would show you a couple of them because they are just, or so that you can see and or hear them. The VZ50 8 series now actually has a bunch of their missing interaction sounds, like folded stock stuff. The OTS 38 revolver now actually correctly flick shut in the direction that you flick it in instead of backwards, which felt super broken. I don't know why I didn't fix this like a million years ago. The thing is so quiet. If you don't know how this sucker works, by the way, and why it's so quiet, this uses a piston round. So basically when the powder goes off, all it does is push an internal piston forward, which actually seals the gas and just pops the projectile out. I imagine not very fast. But what it basically means is that you're mostly just getting the sound of the hammer dropping, which is not actually that loud. Should honestly be a little louder than that in real life, but I like having it just a little bit comic book quiet. So I fixed a clipping issue that's been present on the Sega here for, I don't know, like 6 years. I added the ability for secondary components that are in the way rotationally like that to actually rotate out of the way. So that no longer looks stupid when you pull it back. I still love this gun. Wonderful. Fix the EM2's virtual stock position. It is no longer like the sight is no longer directly inside your eyeball now, and is now at the correct distance. I mean, it's still like one of the most useless scopes ever made, but I guess it's in the correct posture now. Such a pretty gun, though. And then lastly, a whole bunch of you probably saw the wrist breaker gun meme going around. That fellow who made just a ridiculous 1911 one-shot 50 BMG. We obviously have our own version of that meme. This is the IPSC 2011, which many of you probably know about. Now, when I had implemented this, because this has like, you know, like 4 different muzzle brakes on it, I didn't give this that much kick, and I was like, you know what, it'd be so much fun if these didn't really help nearly as much as they should. So I went ahead and made it more lore accurate to the meme, which is when you fire it now, it totally comes back far enough to hit you in the face. So I hope you all prefer it like this, because it's like this now. So pull that right up there, bammo! I think it's probably coming back, what, about 120 degrees or so? Let's check this out. It should have been like this the whole time. So there you have it. that is all the stuff that is in this patch build. Let's before we burn to death, let's jump out of VR and go over the other important bug fixes and API changes in this week's patch. Yo! So, out of VR, what else is in this update? Let's see here. The MP5, SD2, and SD5 have finally had their like errant extra stock position removed from them. Just be aware that because I fixed this, the array of attachment points on those two guns is now different, which means if you saved a vaulted MP5 with attachments on it before, it might break if you try to load it. Someone should definitely test that for me. There's nothing I can really do about it because just the array is now a different length and there's just invalid data there that I can't really clean up sanely. So, but sometimes you just have to break things to fix things. Fix some spelling errors and some metadata miscategorization errors. The quadruple tap had a component that wasn't animating. The compound pistol had an exotic bug. I'm surprised someone even found this, where if you took it and you put it inside one of the savable containers and then opened it again, it would no longer overheat. And it took me a little while to actually figure out what on earth was going on with this bug. And it has to do with the like lazy dev way that I implemented its overheating, which is that I had it subscribe to a global method that basically fires every time a gun fires. And then basically goes, is this me? And then it did a bunch of stuff. Well, when I had done that, I had basically, instead of having the subscription and desubscription occur at creation and destruction, it occurred at creation and disabling. And so what happened is the first time the gun got disabled, because it was being temporarily saved in a case, and then re-enabled, it wasn't resubscribing to that event, and so was not ever getting heat anytime you fired. So I don't know how you folks find some of these bugs, but I'm glad that you do. I tweaked and improved the CX4 and PX4 magazine postures to match them better to the M9 magazines. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, just in the API notes, there's some extra functionality in there for folding stock Y-axis components for any of you modders who want a second component to rotate in some capacity as you swing out the stock. So yeah. Whew. So yeah, so that's all of the various sorts of bugs. As I said, I've been mainly working on stuff that I'm going to show you folks later, closer to release. Some of it I would like to actually just leave it to be a full surprise for the 1.0 release for the game, just because it'll be more fun that way. And you know, it's the Worst World is one of the game's linear modes. It has some story beats, it has some surprises. So while it's fun to show you folks the, like, you know, the progress doing some of the systemic stuff for it, I want to have some of the new things that are present in the scene, especially because when I had originally sat down and was like, I'm going to improve Worst World, I thought I was mainly just going to like tune it, optimize it, tweak a few of the, like, make a few of the interactions better, but leave it alone. And I couldn't help myself. And so in a really big way, this is a significantly greater remaster, more like a reimagining of the scene, while also kind of narratively being a bit of a sequel to the scene. So the old version of Worst World will still be in the game under the legacy settings, but this will be the sort of like updated final version of it that will be part of the main scene board, because it'll just look and play and run so much better. So yeah. Lastly, we have, of course, our favorite segment every week. We have Hot Dog or Not Dog. Now, for this week, I did another kind of ridiculous one because I've been in kind of a rough shape the past month, especially the past week after getting back from my trip. As many of you saw, I broke my foot. I've had a couple other health problems. I've been exhausted from like going on a trip to a friend's wedding with a broken foot, which wore me out way more than I expected, although I probably should have expected. So, and you all know I'm a bit of a chonker, and so I definitely have my comfort food. And so I thought I would share with you folks, when I'm just having a truly awful day, which is why it became the subject of today's Hot Dog or Not Dog. When I'm just like at the end of my rope and I regress to like my childhood kind of comfort food, it's this stuff right here. It's pastaroni, shells, and white cheddar. There was a period in my early 20s that was especially rough where I probably ate this every single day for months running. I don't eat it as much now because I mean it's garbage food. You shouldn't eat this. Is not good for you. I shouldn't be eating this at my age. But I decided, I was like, I wonder how that is on a hot dog. And so I have prepared some. You might be like, I don't understand. Why does it look a little, part of it's just the color temperature from my light, but this is a little darker than it, say, appeared on the box. And the reason for that is I'm going to teach you Anton's special recipe for making this stuff, which is one, take the butter that you would normally put in, take about half of a white onion, chop it into very tiny pieces, and fry the onion in a separate pan. Prepare the pastaroni the regular way, but instead of putting in milk, put in your powder, put in a bunch of sour cream instead, and then mix in your fried onion to it. And that is what results in this. That's what those little dark bits in there is. Those are little bits of like fried caramelized onion. And it's incredible. So because I love this, I pretty much know how this is going to go, but I've never had it on a hot dog before. So that's what we're going to do now. Hot dog or not dog, onioned up augmented pastaroni, shells, and white cheddar. Oh yeah. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's great on its own, but it's also great on a hot dog. Honestly, I think the note it was missing actually was a little bit of meatiness. So definitely a carb bomb. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this update out. And then I'm going to go over to my couch over there and probably just like absolutely carb crash from this. Fantastic. That is most definitely a hot dog. And if you folks want to let me know tell me down in the comments, what is your, I'm having an awful day and I desperately need a little emotional boon goblin comfort food. The thing that, especially if you have something that fills in that category and you wouldn't necessarily want to eat it like in front of another human because you'd have to answer some questions. Tell me what your feel better goblin food is. I'm super curious. For me, I think it will always be this. So with that, I hope you folks all have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace.